You know, every single time you scroll or click or buy something online, you're basically leaving behind this trail of digital breadcrumbs. That's your personal data. And let's be honest, as our lives get more and more digital, the big question is, who's actually in control of all that info? Well, Vietnam now has a brand new answer. It's a whole new set of rules called the Personal Data Protection Decree. So today, we're going to break this down and figure out what it really means for you and your data.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. Think of it as a journey, a personal data journey, if you will. First up, what is personal data anyway? Then we'll get into the good stuff. What are your new rights? From there, we'll flip the script and look at the new rules for businesses. We'll also cover what happens when your data gets into trouble. And finally, we'll talk about your part in all of this. That's the game plan for unpacking this super important new law.
All right, first things first, let's dive right into the absolute basics. What exactly is personal data? I mean, what are we even talking about protecting here?
So just think about your day so far. The websites you've browsed, the map app you used to get around, maybe even that photo you posted a little while ago. Is all of that stuff, all of that activity, actually considered personal data under this new law? Well, the official answer might just surprise you. The answer, according to Article 2 of the decree, is a big, resounding yes. Seriously, the definition they use is incredibly broad. We're not just talking about your name or your email address here. We're talking about any information in any format, text, pictures, sounds, you name it, that can be tied back to you as a person. The bottom line is, if it can be used to figure out who you are, it's protected. But here's where it gets really interesting. The decree doesn't just lump all data together. Nope, it actually splits it into two different buckets. In one bucket, you've got your basic data, stuff like your name, your phone number, your email. But in the other, more protected bucket is sensitive data. And this is the really personal stuff, your health records, your financial info, even your political or religious views. This stuff gets a whole extra layer of protection, and for good reason. If it leaks, it could cause you some serious, direct harm. And that distinction, that separation between basic and sensitive data, is so important, because it brings us right to what I think is the most powerful part of this whole decree, the actual rights you now have over your own information.
Okay, this right here, this is the big one. It's the foundation for everything else. Companies can no longer just assume they can use your data. The decree is super clear. They need your explicit, voluntary permission before they can even touch it. The power to say yes or no has officially been put back in your hands.
Have you ever wished you could hit a delete button on some of your digital history? Well, now you kinda can. This is the right to delete. It basically gives you the power to go to a company and say, hey, get rid of my data. If they don't need it for the reason they collected it, or if they got it in a shady way, you can tell them it's time to wipe it clean.
And let me be clear, these rights aren't just nice ideas on paper. They've got real teeth. If you feel like a company is ignoring you, maybe they refuse your request to delete your data, or they're using it without your permission, you now have a clear legal path forward. You can file a formal complaint, report them, and even sue them for damages.
So, okay, individuals now have all these new rights, but what does that mean for the companies that are actually handling all our data? Well, that brings us to the next section, the new rules of the game for businesses. You know those annoying pre-ticked consent boxes and the super confusing fine print? Well, those days are pretty much over. For consent to be valid now, a business has to be upfront. They need to tell you exactly what data they want and why. Then you have to do something explicit, like actually ticking a box yourself. Just staying silent doesn't count as a yes. And this part is huge. They have to let you choose what you're consenting to, not just force you into some all-or-nothing deal. The decree also gets really specific about who's responsible for what. The easiest way to think about it is like building a house. You have the data controller. That's the architect. They're the ones deciding why and how your data is going to be used. They're the boss. Then you have the data processor. That's the builder. They just follow the architect's plans. But here's the most important part for you. The architect, the controller, is the one who is directly on the hook and responsible to you if anything goes wrong. Now, as you can probably guess, the rules get even tighter when the stakes are higher. We're talking about situations like when their data is sent out of the country, or, God forbid, when there's a security breach. So, sending your data across borders isn't just a simple click anymore. Not by a long shot. A company has to jump through some serious hoops. They've got to do a full impact assessment.
They absolutely need to get your clear consent just for that transfer, they need a rock-solid contract with whoever is receiving it, and they have to file all this paperwork with the Ministry of Public Security. It's a whole process, all designed to make sure your data stays safe no matter where in the world it ends up.
Okay, but what happens when the worst-case scenario becomes a reality? Let's say a company gets hacked and your information is out there. Well, the law doesn't give them a lot of time to get their story straight. No, they are put on a very, very tight deadline, and it's all about this one number.
72. That's how many hours they have. From the second a company finds out they've had a data breach, a clock starts ticking. They've got just 72 hours, that's 3 days, to report it to the Ministry of Public Security. And that super tight deadline is there for a reason. It's to make sure the authorities can jump in immediately, try to contain the damage, and help protect everyone who's been affected.
So, we've covered your rights, and we've covered the rules for companies. But here's the thing. Data protection isn't a one-way street. The decree makes it really clear that this is a team effort, and you have a role to play too. So what are your obligations?
And this really gets to the heart of it, this idea of shared responsibility. It's on you to take reasonable steps to protect your own data. It's on you to respect the data and privacy of other people. And when you do give consent, you need to provide accurate info. Basically, the law sees every single one of us as a partner in building a safer, more secure digital world for everyone.
So, when you step back and look at the big picture, what we have here is a new rulebook for the digital age in Vietnam. It fundamentally shifts the balance of power away from the companies and puts it back into your hands, the hands of the individual. It gives you rights, it gives businesses clear responsibilities, and it lays the groundwork for a much safer digital future. So the big question isn't just about what companies can do with your data anymore. The real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. What will you do with all this new power?